Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Command Combat Battle Reports. Today we've got Shogun 2 Total War, the Satsuma versus Tosa. With me today is Troy.
Hi.
Hi. So, alright, over here it looks like everybody's in motion already. We've got the Tosa and they're rushing forward with some cavalry Yariki, some Yariki infantry, Red Bear infantry. It looks like they're kind of in chaos at the moment, but they're just trying to get as far forward as possible. The cavalry is really racing forward. In fact, it looks like we got a couple of rows of them. This one over here, this one over here. The Satsuma, meanwhile, looks like they're just in a long straight line. They seem to be pretty strong over on this side with Black Bear infantry in the back. We got some sharpshooters in the front. And then far behind Boki, who can arc over their enemies, and they're leaving some Yariki cavalry back there in reserve. Oh, and it looks like they're branching out another section over here. So it looks like we're going to have two battle sort of sections over here. One big section over here and one small section over here, which, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it looks like the Yariki or the Tosa are really racing up forward. Looks like they're going to draw their battle line sort of diagonally. What do you think, Troy?
Well, it's dark.
Let's get in close here. It's a nighttime battle. It's a little bit foggy. I think we got General's bodyguard in here. Got the moon back there. And it's kind of interesting here. We got the, it looks like the Tosa are creating kind of a line of cavalry there and a line of cavalry way up here, sort of behind the hill so that they can't be seen by their enemy. And the infantry is slowly coming up behind on the back of the slope here. And it looks like that. Okay, well, you know, sometimes this strategy, you know, this is a good strategy to kind of block somebody in. You rush your cavalry forward and just sort of stop them right into place, and then bring your infantry up behind. That way you're kind of establishing where your line is, and you're already starting to box your infantry, or your enemy in there, which they seem to be okay with that. They're kind of staying behind that line and putting some of their lines in, so you can see where the lines are through the lights that are in there. But it seems like what the Satsuma are doing is they're kind of creating themselves in a defensive position over behind the trees here, while pushing up a lot of their guys up on the right this direction.
I would agree with that, Jeff. Obviously, before we even really come to blows, the Satsuma definitely appear to be more on the defensive, although they have made a thrust here with some cavalry.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of connecting with the enemy.
I'm actually not sure myself why they decided to engage at this point. What are your thoughts on that, Jeff?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, the Tosa pretty much had them boxed in, but maybe the Satsuma started to come out. Well, now the Tosa is bringing up their infantry, and they're making a big push here on the left. And they have broken the Tosa. They're following up behind, oh man, the Tosa is already there with their infantry, and they're blasting them back. They're going to go hide behind their trees again here.
And I don't see any other movement by the Satsuma. So really, it just seems to have almost been an expeditionary type of jab.
Yeah.
To see how the Tosa would react.
I think it's very interesting how the Tosa are doing this. They're really kind of boxing them in here. You notice how they have this one group that was, that was doing the line here is now coming in this direction, and this one coming in this direction. Now their infantry is coming in.
It's a very methodical approach they're taking.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're almost turning the screws, if you will, narrowing the perimeter, and almost making the Satsuma react on their terms.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Is that Satsuma is playing this in a defensive range. Oh, that's a good hit. While the Tosa are taking the initiative, and their initiative is paying off because they're already pushing back the Satsuma infantry there.
And now we're seeing some movement up ahead as well.
You mean up this area, or are you further up? Yeah, I think you can really see the Tosa are really making their move down here on the bottom. Satsuma still have a lot of forces up there. It seems like they're trying to do a push up that direction, but there's no enemy for them to engage.
Now, if you're the Satsuma, I would be trying at this point to at least bring some units around to the flanking side of the Tosa.
Oh, which is what it looks like they're doing over here. Looks like you can see their sharpshooters over
But
here.
I'm not sure that they started that soon enough to really turn the tide at this point, at least with the numbers that they're committing, although we do start seeing some more significant commitment coming up around the backside as well.
I think you're right. Oh, there we go. Now they're bringing them up. You may be right, Trey. It looks like it might be a little bit late for them because they are really bringing them in late. Let's take a look at the fighting that's taking place down here, though. Some really good shooting down here.
Now this may play out very differently, but what I'm looking at right now reminds me of the football adage, the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah, actually I would agree.
And it could end up being a cautionary tale that if you come into a battle like this too reserved and starting out thinking almost entirely about defense, you almost by definition put yourselves on your heels and at a disadvantage.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing, is, I mean, when you attack, you at least get to determine where the battle takes place, and you get to make it on your terms. Of course, defense, you get to hold back, and, oh, but there, it looks like the Tosa are really doing a charge with their Yari Ki here.
Now, in my mind, and as this plays out, for me, how the Satsuma could turn this around is really if the Tosa were so aggressive that they didn't even think to protect their own flanks.
Well, let's take a look here, because it looks like the Satsuma have been trying to... Oh, and in fact, that's probably the reason for this charge down here, Troy, is they probably saw the Satsuma was coming around their flank and decided to protect it by, once again, like you say, doing the best defense is a good offense. They just decided to go and attack them rather than try to defend their flank. Just completely wipe out the flanking force, and sure enough, they have...
routed, looks like...
Oh, well, now they're routed, actually.
They're routed now.
So,
but the Satsuma seem to be breaking off, or am I misreading that?
I think so. Well, the Satsuma have been definitely slowed down. Look at the force way over here on the left. They're not routing, but they're not continuing their flanking move. And the Satsuma have been able to establish their own defensive position from which they can go moving out. And it looks like they've pretty well taken... This was the original position of the attack. They've pretty well taken it. They're in the back area of the trees. Remember, the Satsuma were using this to defend. So now the Tosa are swinging around to come into their interior. And they may be able to do their own flanking maneuver. But let's take a look at this fight that's taking place over here. Oh, well, actually, it's happening now. They're coming at them there. I do like the way it looks at night, though, with the smoke rising behind there. Just these flashes are amazing.
Well, if you're going to die, I've always been a firm believer it should be in a picturesque scenario.
Yeah, well, hey, beats the alternative. Actually, doesn't beat the alternative of living, though, I suppose. Unless your life is really rotten, then I suppose.
Unless you work for the government, in which case, well...
Well, so yeah, they're going to go ahead and keep on moving over here. Well, I'm trying to figure out who they're charging there. It looks like they're bypassing this unit right here. In fact, they're going to expose their flank. That's not a very good maneuver.
No, again, I think they're taking the advantage that they started with, and through some poor follow-up decisions, may actually be losing it.
Yeah. I think you're going to see them retreat here in a second. So they're attacking to the interior.
And again, my perception is they waited too long.
Yeah.
Probably didn't. So now they're routing.
Yeah, now they're routing.
They didn't come at that maneuver with. That was almost a maneuver of desperation. They didn't commit enough forces to really make a difference there.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're trying to fight everything at once, isn't it? Now you even have a fight that's up here. Now, of course, they're trying to bottle in... Oh, and they're about to hit the Satsuma in the back here, so this is going to be pretty effective. They're trying to bottle up their flanking force, and they keep succeeding at doing that, but now they're kind of stretching it. That might actually end up being the thing that saved the Satsuma here, is not so much... It's the fact that they took so long. It's not so much they did a flanking maneuver so much as their flanking movement caused the Tosa to, you know, get thinned out really far. But it's still anybody's game as this fight keeps raging on up here. Oops, please. Oh, well, these guys are kind of getting hurt. And it doesn't look like there's a lot of them left. Let's take a look at what they look like here as they're shooting. it's a lot of redheads.
Tosa seem to be, if I'm reading this right, they seem to be suffering from some fairly high attrition.
I think so. I think they just...
Ooh, and that barrage just
yeah.
didn't help matters at all.
Put down their morale quite a bit.
Yeah.
This... Oh, and there they go. They're starting to pull back. Is there anybody left over here? It looks like there's a tiny bit that's left. Oh, this was the force I was looking at earlier.
One thought that I might put out there, Jeff, is if the Tosa had maybe not even reacted to that flanking maneuver. In other words, they had what appeared to be, if you will, a beachhead early on in the battle, and yet they were distracted or pulled away from that to counter the look of the flanking maneuver. But I'm not convinced that if they hadn't just made a whole commitment to that first aggressive maneuver, if they might not have gotten through the Satsuma and basically routed them from within.
I think you're right. I think that would have been I think that was their ultimate mistake here, because they really were doing their force. I mean, one of the things that's really good to do is concentrate to an extent, and especially if your enemy is weak at a certain point, just completely wipe them out, finish them off, then deal with everybody else. That would at least be my opinion of the matter. You still have a little bit, but it looks like it's just about going to be over. I mean, look at all that Satsuma there, and the Tosa just marching into it.
Yeah.
In fact, this is one of the good setups that you want to do here. Satsuma, you notice you got the shooting line here, and then you got the archers behind. And what you're able to do is have the firing line there, and the archers are able to pour more fire in through arching fire from the rear.
Yeah, at this point, I'm willing to call it a game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be about it. In fact, I think that's it. You can see that they're about ready to run. Oh, well, you know what? Here's another mistake that Tosa made.
They left these units behind.
Yeah, you have the general's bodyguard, and apparently he kept a couple of infantry units with him to help protect him. And yeah, you know, if you're
that was too late to change the tide at all.
Yeah. In fact, this seems to be one of the powerful ones. You can see the little notches up here. The 3 notches means that their level of experience. So that means that these guys are really good. These are some of the best elite samurai. So you have these really, really good samurai units that are, well, I can understand the emperor or whoever is wanting to keep himself protected. He's losing the battle because he's keeping his best samurai back to protect him.
Now it'll be interesting to see if the Tosa are going to be aggressive to try and finish this off.
Looks like they're doing it with their general's bodyguard. He's going to personally go in there and finish off the Satsuma. Or at least fight them. I shouldn't say finish them off, but I don't know where their leader is amongst all that. But I think that I'm sort of focusing on this because I think this is, yeah, and there you go. That's it. Now with their leader running, they pretty much just have some infantry who's going to pretty much retreat. Actually, there's something going on up here too, but again, it seems to me that there was this whole, you know, fighting to defend the flank thing, and that's probably, like you say, that was probably their downfall. Well, anyway, that was a pretty good battle. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch us on Facebook, Twitter, and CommandCombatReports.com. Happy gaming, everyone!